Hey guys, time to tell you about Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. It's been about 10 days and it was amazing. I'm going to start off with Jerusalem. Landed into Tel Aviv airport and noticed straight away that it was so efficient. Like, just getting around was so quick, and managed to get the shuttle bus to Jerusalem for about midnight, at which point I went into the local markets to get some food.
So I'm in the markets in Jerusalem, and as you can hear all around me, it's really kicking off. It's about midnight now and I've just arrived. I'm looking for something to eat, but I'm absolutely impressed with this place. It seems so cool. The reason I thought the place was so cool was, for one, it was covered in amazing street art. Just absolutely fantastic pieces just on the shutters of the closed stores, sometimes being religious, sometimes reflecting what the store had inside of it when it was open. Also, you know, the people chilling out there were so cool. They weren't like lads getting drunk or girls tottering around in high heels getting wasted. They were just really cool people and just enjoying a Tuesday night. Like, this was Tuesday and they were still kicking off. So just loved it. So the Dead Sea. First thing to know is, if you cover yourself in the mud, which is good for your skin, you come off looking a little racist. 2, you can float really well. We all know this. It's like being a bottle full of air, and if you push it down it just brings back up. That's kind of the feeling. I also booked a tour with the hostel. It was one of the free Newman walking tours. Absolutely fantastic as always. Our guide, Itai, was brilliant. Made it funny in places and sombre where it should be. Told us all the religious history. I'm not going to go through it all because there's just tons, but definitely worth checking out. You go to all 4 quarters of the old town and he has so much knowledge for you. Also, he takes you past the Church of Sepulchre, which I really liked. It's where Christ is buried. You can go and have a look around separately on yourself, but what I love about it is that it's owned by lots of different people, but the actual tomb where Christ is buried, so they say, is actually owned by nobody, and that's by agreement from all parties, because no one should own the body of Christ.
So before I get into the horror of the Holocaust Museum, there is one tip I have to give you. You can get to Holocaust Museum via public transport really easily. Catch the tram, then get a bus. Really easy. You don't even need to get the bus. However, if you're going to ask someone, where do I go to the Holocaust Museum, make sure they speak your language. We went up to the bus stop and there was this woman, and I said to her, hey, where's the Holocaust Museum? And she turned around and went, Holocaust? I was like, yeah, the museum. Holocaust? Yeah, the museum. Things were getting very complicated very quickly. I think she thought I was just someone who wanted to, chat about genocide, Luckily, Chris, who I'd gone to the Holocaust Museum with, had the name in Hebrew on his phone and thrust it into her face so she understood where we were going. But yeah, just a friendly little tip for you. The Holocaust Museum itself, though, is amazing in how well it explains what happened. Obviously, you can never understand. It was such a horrific thing, but my sympathies were with anyone who was even remotely related to the Holocaust. It was the most draining experience. We started off by going into the Children's Hall of Remembrance, and there were just loads of mirrors everywhere. You couldn't really see where you were because the mirrors reflected some lights. It was all dark and there were just some little lights and they were reflected so many times it just felt like an infinite room. This is really oddly quiet room just full of a galaxy, I suppose, and each of these sort of reflections, each of these lights were to represent a child lost, and the gravity of that, as well as it being interspersed with projections of children, was, yeah, it was horrible, really, really horrible in the way that it obviously would be. We went through another couple of rooms. We went to an art exhibition of artists who had been caught within the Holocaust, and went to another room which remembered some of the other people that died. The main building, however, is a feat of architecture. It's this horrible grey, oppressive grey, and it's triangular in shape, but it gets smaller and smaller as you get into the middle, and that is to describe the sense of being trapped. And the grey is to reflect the uniforms and the colours that were very much part of being in the camps. The monuments, the different things they have there. The actual artifacts are, they paint a very somber picture, but it's the camera interviews that they do with survivors that are just so moving and just make you I crumble a little bit. I have no qualms in saying that I was very emotional. I don't think anyone could not be very emotional listening to someone tell a story about how they were forced to hide in the cupboard while their parents were taken away by the Nazis, or how they were asked to forced to strip naked, line up in front of a ditch 4x4, and then be shot so they'd fall into the bunker and the trench, and then seeing that happen and then being forced to go into line next. There was a girl who told that story who was 7 at the time, and she had survived and laid under the bodies of other people, other women, until she could get away. It's horrific what people could do to other people, and it's something that if you're in Jerusalem you should see, very much so. I think it's one of the most poignant things that I've ever seen, and something that I will always remember, for sure.
To help you cope with everything that you've seen, the end of the building actually expands back outwards, and you can see the beautiful vista at the end, and it kind of shows the hope of life after the Holocaust.
Tel Aviv is a great place. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was absolutely amazing. Great beaches, great city. Has a real good combination of the two. Sort of similar to Cape Town in that way, but it has a very different feel. There are some really great markets. You can go to the old town. Go to the furniture markets around there and all the jewellery there. You can go down to where Allenby and Schenken combine, and there's a good food market there. And around that way as well, there's also the craft market on a Tuesday and a Friday, which is where I bought this. If you can see that, move this close to you. It's a necklace. It's made from olive bark wood, and then there's gold inlay on it as well. And it's just really unique, and I just thought something that was really different, so I picked it up. And I think the other thing about Tel Aviv is the dogs. There's loads of dogs. It's really cute, but it's still quite clean. 99% of people pick up their dog's mess, and they've got dog parks, and yeah, it's just a really relaxed, chill place, but has all the trappings of a city.
Tel Aviv was also my first experience of couch surfing. I stayed with this Italian opera singer called Filippo, who was amazing, such a nice guy, and his flatmates were all musicians. They were super cool as well, really included me in everything. They also had a dog, Filippo's dog Pamina, who is super cute, and I took her around Jaffa, I took her to the markets, and really saw the town with her. Jaffa, the old town, is such an amazing place, and you should definitely see it, but the markets are also fantastic. You've got food market, furniture market, jewellery market, craft market on a Tuesday and a Friday. Absolutely amazing place.
So that was Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being here. I'd say that if you want to come to Israel, totally do it. They put a little card in your passport, which is not fixed in, so you don't have to worry about stamps or anything like that. It's a very efficient country. It's very easy to navigate all the towns. The accommodation is fantastic in Jerusalem, where I stayed at Abraham Hostel, and I'm sure the hostel is also brilliant in Tel Aviv. I would say that it is a little bit expensive. The exchange rate is about 5.8 shekels to the pound, but when you convert things, it actually really makes no difference. So just be aware that it's not the cheapest place, but it's very cool. Just the people are so cool. Such a great international crowd in terms of, yes, most of them are Israeli, but they've all travelled, and they've all sort of been places, have great stories. So I would say, without a doubt, definitely come here. Fall in love with it, go on the beach, go hunting for treasure in the markets, go to the old town, have a coffee in the port, do it all, and definitely get yourself to Jerusalem and get some of the nightlife in there as well. The market there is fantastic, and so obviously there's so much else to see that I haven't even scratched the surface, so it's definitely something I would come back to. So that's it. There's more detail in the blog, written a nice big blog on this. So if you enjoy it, have a read of that, and please do subscribe, please do follow Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. All the links are on the